What's going on, Chelsea fans? We're back with another video. We're going to be looking at the AC Milan preview, and Fabrizio Romano's hinting at Zakaria leaving in January. More to come. All right, well, the first news I want to touch on is Fabrizio Romano is essentially hinting in his latest YouTube video that Denis Zakaria might be going back to Juventus as early as January. He tweeted here that he hasn't played a single minute with Chelsea as of today. He's in a difficult position as Thomas Tuchel wanted him. While Juventus had him in consideration, they thought they were going to use him, but figured Chelsea came in strong, they'd let him go. Now with Graham Potter, 0 minutes, and he's not even on the bench. If you listen to the podcast, this is something that I talk about specifically. I just broke it down in yesterday's pod. I didn't break it down. We talked about it. But yeah, we had our full hour-long match review of Wolves, and Zakaria got brought up as to why is he missing. If Jorginho is the last midfielder back covering our back three or back four, why wouldn't you want someone a lot more defensive oriented in that role other than Jorginho, who is not a great tackler? So anyways, Fabrizio honestly pretty much hinted that he could be off as soon as January. And he also alluded to the fact that they're going to get him out in order to pave the way for Chelsea to bring in, and as he puts it, unimportant midfielder, aka a big money signing. We all want Declan Rice. He would fit perfectly in that position as far as all of us armchair coaches and analysts think. So seems like we're going to have to wait and see. You would love to see Zakaria get in and play some minutes. You don't want them to be linked as a Saul, last second loan that didn't turn out. Really would love to see him be able to get some minutes, but he's not able to because Kovacic is playing well, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is playing well, and Conor Gallagher is playing well. And that doesn't even include N'Golo Kante, who, when fit, goes on the team sheet right away. So we'll have to see what happens with Zakaria, but let me know in the comments what you think of this situation. Obviously, he was brought in for Tuchel. Potter's now here. Surely they can find a use for him. He was so good in the Bundesliga with Mönchengladbach. There's got to be a player in there. I wonder if Potter and Chelsea are maybe going to look ahead to the next 2 transfer windows and try to build up the team based on their forecast for that. And Zakaria's not in their plans, which it'd be a shame. So if he doesn't play at all, I hope he gets a return in January so that he doesn't just kind of sit and waste on the bench. But look, he's got to get ready for his Switzerland duties as well. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Otherwise, next up, and probably most importantly for everybody, is the fact that AC Milan is coming up tomorrow. That's right. We're going to be go ahead and looking at what we think might happen in this match. The good news is we've already had the Graham Potter press conference in which he let us know that there's a trio absent from training before AC Milan head to Chelsea. That's right. N'Golo Kante, which we kind of expected, Wesley Fofana, which we expected, and now Hakim Ziyech are now all out, which you'd assume that they're not going to be available. So in total, there were 23 players out on the grass, with goalkeepers working separately as always. Hashtag goalkeepers union. So we'll get a little bit more information as the team arrive in Milan and, a look ahead at what might happen. So the other thing we want to touch on is just how good his Mason Mount been. There's a lot of conversations right now that his contract might be stalling, that, they want to get, Bowling Company want to get him locked up on a Reece James type deal. We know that the Cobham kids have essentially been on lower wages than the rest of the team. And so with that being said, there are some rumblings out there that they think it's just not quite moving as fast as maybe the club would like, right? So the club may be putting out some things saying, oh, we're looking at some backups from Roma and Italy, and that, we really want Mason to sign, but we're not going to force him to. At the end of the day, Mason is Mr. Chelsea. He's the future captain of Chelsea. The club has to do some posturing, fine, whatever. But Graham Potter has praised for him. Look, Tuchel praised him. Frank praised him. Everyone who has been around Mason has praised him for his attitude and his hard work. And I can't imagine anything other than the 6-year deal landing for Mason with a huge pay rise, which he's earned. And I think that that's going to happen. But again, we're starting to see the posturing in the press, I think, from both sides, which, I think in the past, we definitely know that the Marina Granovskaya leadership team definitely used the press to their advantage when they needed to, and now we might be starting to see how Todd Bowling Company might be using the press. Again, not sure, speculative, but all you want to see is Mason locked down to long-term contract. Obviously, at the weekend, he had 2 assists across the Kai, and then a nice give and go where he was assister for Christian on this. And Graham Potter had some what I think are some pretty obvious quotes here. He talked about Mason. He said he made a lot of runs in behind. Him and Christian were a threat down that left side, and he also sacrificed himself for the team, worked hard when he didn't have the ball. It was a really good performance from him. And this is kind of how I summarize Mason, right? Is that he doesn't always get the end result. He doesn't always get the goal or the assist, but he's usually the one creating the run, making the move, or he's the pass that goes into the assister or the goal scorer. So to me, I think he does a lot of selfless work and a lot of the dirty work that doesn't get the glory and the plaudits. And I think that's why a lot of fans get frustrated with him. Now, would we like to see him score more goals? Of course. But his positional flexibility means that his specialty is being a generalist. The fact that he can slot into 4 different positions within this team speaks a lot for him. He's not a specialist in goal scoring. He's not a specialist in Cesc Fabregas type passing. But how many of those players do we have in the team that can play right wing, left wing, a number 8? He could probably play number 6 if he had to. He plays number 10. Mason can fit in and fill in along the ways, and he's so intelligent off the ball. And I think that something gets lost on a lot of players. I think that, you know, the way that some people just discredit him, I just don't think is super fair. And this is another manager who comes in and absolutely, you know, is getting praise from another manager right away. Graham Potter goes on, quote, "I have no doubt about Mason Mount at all." End quote. What more could you say? What more do you need to say? He has no doubt at all about Mason Mount. Like, I trust Potter more than I trust, like, the Jorginho Abbeys on Twitter. That's just me. You may have a different perspective on that. But Potter goes on to say, sometimes the team maybe doesn't function as well, so the individuals don't function as well. Any player knows football is a bit up and down sometimes, and you have moments where it won't go your way. What can you learn from that? He's got character and personality that will continue to develop, so he's a delight to work with. That's right. He has an absolute just tough mentality when it comes to it. I mean, there's a reason a lot of kids don't go from Cobham under 8s all the way to the first team, right? John Terry did it. Then you got Ruben, who's kind of been in and out. But Mason, then Reese are the first 2 since John Terry to fully establish themselves in the side the way they have. I know there's been some other players that have kind of come and gone, but I mean, these 2 are central to the way Chelsea play, and we haven't seen that. I think we should respect it and be really happy for what we have. Again, I think in a season or 2, he's not going to be in those forward positions. I think he's going to be much more in a central position, and then he's going to be able to kind of specialize there. I mean, I can't imagine what kind of a partnership that Mason and Declan could have in the middle of the field for Chelsea for 5-6 years. That would be absolutely, I think, a powerhouse midfield that's going to be able to provide a lot. Mason has a pass on him, and that's not something we see a lot out of the midfield right now. So anyways, I have nothing but love and time for Mason, and I know a lot of people don't. So put in the comment how you view Mason. I think he's indispensable for the team right now, and it's good to see him get some assists as well, because it just shows that he has essentially all the tools in the toolkit to be successful. The other one, which is such a lightning rod as we get talked about a lot as American Chelsea fans, is Christian Pulisic. You got to love to see the goal here. Nice build-up. As you can see, Mason involved from the back all the way into the build-up. Him and Christian, essentially the last 2 people to touch it 6 times before it ended up in the back of the net. It was such a good goal, too. Watch it back on replay. It's really good to see. And he hasn't had a lot of minutes, right? So we talked about the heavy rotation that Potter went with in this match, and the fact that these guys who don't have a lot of minutes came off the bench and performed as well as they did just is so important to establish the depth and the hunger that these players have. As they say here in the article, it was only the second time that he's featured under Potter at all this season. It was the first time from the start. And, you know, like I said, probably could have had 2, but the fact that he got his 1 is very important for him and his confidence. And I know a lot of you, don't want him to succeed, but at the end of the day, you want all the players from Chelsea to succeed. So Graham Potter has some nice quotes about him as well. He says, it's understandable. He's a human being. He wants to play. He wants to help. It's about how you put the players on the pitch so it suits them. The role for Christian was a good one for him. It was high, wide left. He could attack the back line. It was nice for him to score. can't we just be happy for Chelsea players when they score, right? Mason and Christian, 2 players who seem to get a lot of stick, did a good job of stepping up for the team. And I think that that's really, really good to see. And as you kind of look at it from a statistical perspective, right? As we look at the squad here, good old FB ref, right? I want to give the proper credit where it's due. We've obviously struggled in the goal areas a little bit. Raheem, Kai, and then Jorginho, Reece, Kalidou Koulibaly, Gallagher, Pulisic, Chilwell, Aubameyang, and Broja. This is obviously in the Premier League. Not where we want to be, right? We need someone that's, starting to knock on double-digit figures, which we're working on, right? Our XG in this just doubles down that Raheem Sterling is our most attacking threat. He's the biggest threat that we have offensively, and we need to continue to put him in positions to succeed. He got to rest all match, which means he's going to be ready for AC Milan, which is what you want to see. And then as we look at kind of the attacking output, right, which is something that I think is really important for the team as we move forward, is the shot created actions, right? So I'm trying to find it here. Here we go. Goal and shot creation. What I love to see is that, again, Mason Mount is right up there at the top with Raheem Sterling on 21 shot creating actions, right? So again, this is where the numbers show the value of Mason. On a per 90, right? He drops to third, but at Ziyech, he's only had 1.4 90s. Versus Mason 6.1, and Connor had him as well, only has 2.8. So on a per 90 basis, Mason is consistently outperforming the rest of the team, which again is really important. And he's doing it off of passes. These aren't free kicks, these aren't corner kicks or anything like that. These are open play shot creating chances, which a lot of you don't like to admit to, but he's actually pretty good with that. So again, I just think that at the end of the day, we've got some good players. I think Chelsea on a huge upswing right now, obviously undefeated under Graham Potter, 2-3-0 performances in a row. Obviously, when we played Milan, they were knocked up a bit at home, which is good for us. You got to take advantage of it when you get it. Wolves were not a good team, but tomorrow we're going to be taking on AC Milan again, right? They've got a couple players back. We're going to be playing away at the San Siro, so they're going to be at home. They just had a big win over Juventus, but I'm going to preview all of that tomorrow in tomorrow's video. We're going to predict lineups and everything. So anyways, hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you're still celebrating after the weekend, but let me know what you think. Is Zakaria, is he going to stay? How are you feeling about Mount and Pulisic? Again, I don't know how you could be anything but happy for the players when they succeed at Chelsea. That is what we want. So anyways, if you want a full match review, we had the hour-long podcast on any podcast player you want. Just go check it out there. And if you're looking for a Chelsea community, check us out on Patreon. We got a Discord in there connected to it. Link in the description below. Anyways, have a great Monday. We'll be back tomorrow with the match preview. Take care.